Yo, what is happening, y'all? I am bringing y'all another how to deal with aggressive players, and this time, yes, I am bringing King. If y'all aren't aware by now, Season 2 has made King pretty much a boss character. They made him King 2.0, and he is just a rough character to deal with nowadays. And it's unfortunate because I love King. I used to play King, but unfortunately I moved to a different character now, and I'm using Hayachi now. I was a Hayachi player for a while, and I played a lot, not a lot, but I played Hayachi back in Tekken 7, but I kind of moved on from King, and I'm playing Hayachi now, and I wanted to use this as an example because Hayachi doesn't have regular tools that maybe Jin would have, right? Or maybe Dragunov would have, like standing launchers, like a down forward 2, easy things that could punish rage arts or moves that are left to -15, right? He doesn't have that, right, per se. He has this full crouch while standing too, right, which is a new addition. But anyways, let's go ahead and start this video here, and let's see how do we deal with King as Hayachi. And while this loads up, I wanted to go ahead and announce my Discord channel here. I'm gonna put the link in the description. If you guys are interested, go ahead and join the channel so to have a more interactive experience. Hopefully we can go ahead and run some lobbies, provide insight to other characters that you may have, and even make requests, and I could go ahead and do another how-to video on how to deal with that, right? So getting into the video here, I wanted to go ahead and start off with saying that how I deal with this scenario right here. As you can see, still 60 seconds on the clock, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to play really defensive, right? I'm just going to play really defensive here, and wow, we skipped a little bit too far here. And playing defensive, we see that this King does a down jab, right? To me, in my opinion, there's no reason to like really do a down jab unless you're trying to like really establish momentum, and that right there is already a good note-taking opportunity. We're realizing that this King wants to really enforce his momentum, establish his momentum, and he's going to throw a down jab to kind of do that because it's one of the safest options to do, right? It's a good option to do when you're minus against players like Lydia, and other characters in stance and anything like that, right? But in this case, we sidestep and I just get my reward, which is a down forward 1-1, and now I'm +4, right? Now when I'm +4, and again I only use a down forward 1-1, my mind state is still very defensive right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to play something safe, and I'm gonna test out this King. What does he like to do when he's minus, right? Is he gonna step? Is he gonna armor, right? So let's see what happens here. It looks like he gets caught in a backdash. Maybe he was trying to duck, maybe. I wasn't too sure, but forward 4-3 clips him, right? And of course I go for an electric and I ruin my combo. Course. Now, because of that, we're going to play the Okizeme game here. And if you aren't aware, the Okizeme game is basically what you do as the player when your opponent is getting up from the ground, right? So in this case, I do the double hell sweep mix-up. And the first hell sweep doesn't connect, but the second one does, right? And now I'm only +3. That's not a big advantage here. So instead of me trying to enforce more momentum, I'm gonna go ahead and backdash. And what does that grant me? He whiffs his while standing forward, trying to retaliate. I guess he thought I was gonna do something bigger there, but because I backdash and he whipped, I get my reward. Now I get health back, I use less of my meter, I have my install, and now he's in a bad situation being -9. So again, now he's -9, I'm +9, I'm going to start enforcing bigger mix-ups, right? And in this case, it's still the beginning of the round, only 7 seconds has passed. I'm still going to do something a little bit safer, right? I'm going to do standing 3-2. And standing 3-2 only comes out at 15 frames, and with him being -9, that basically is going to lock him down there. And in this case, it looks like he tried to sidestep or something. And if you look at the input history, and then of course that clips him because again, he's -9. And the thing with stance, with Hayachi, when he's in heat, it's probably not a good idea to try to retaliate with like a jab or mid check or anything like that, because it kind of works like King's muscle armor, but instead of it kind of absorbing the attacks, it's going to just do like an automatic parry, and it's going to do a big amount of damage. It's a lot of damage for something like that. So yeah, just don't try to attack here. And because we're playing King, I have a feeling he's gonna do armor, right? King players like to do back 3, up forward 1+, or up forward 3+4, or his muscle armor, right? So in this case, I'm gonna go for the grab, and it actually works out. he did armor. So because we went for a grab, guess what? Now that his armor is pretty much nullified. That's gonna pretty much be voided out, and my grab is now guaranteed, and that gives me more plus frames. So now with him being -9 just a second ago, now he's -8. More mix-up opportunities. My mind state here at this point is I did the first high. I have a feeling that he's like, well, there's no way I'm gonna do a second high, right? But no, I do the second high, and that works out in my favor. So now in just about 10 seconds alone, we have able to get this King to almost no health back practically. He's already at rage practically, right? So how do we deal with this situation? How do we deal with this Okizeme game right here? All right, so I'm gonna rush in and I'm gonna fake my dash, right? Because I don't know what he's gonna do. He might be a little bit desperate here, right? So of course, called it out. I get my whiff punish, but of course the wall is there, so you know the full combo was not going to be guaranteed for me. L sweep likes to track really good, especially if they wave dash, right? So in this case, I enforce the wave dash to make sure he tracks. This tracks, right? And I'm +8 after that. After that hits, I am +8. So now he's in the same situation again. What am I going to do here? Mid check. I'm only -2. Pop kicks. I respect it. I probably would have went for just a low after that, and that probably would have worked out, but in this case, I play patient, and I get my punish, right? So far, we just played patiently, we made him make mistakes. That's all we've done. So now, in the second round, he goes for a bigger armor move to establish his momentum, right? So in this case, he goes for his armor move, and what that's going to do is going to go ahead and put me in a bad situation. I am -25, a whopping -25. So unfortunately though, the King player, he lets me get a little comfortable with how I react to his mix up there. If I was the King player, I probably would have just really enforced a 50-50 immediately, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, that probably would have been something better, but in this case, because he's allowing me to get comfortable, again, I kind of notate that there mentally. I ducked a high, but again, that's a fast high. It recovers fast, so I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm still playing defensive. I'm not revealing all of my cards. I'm making sure I don't do that, right? And I push him away. I'm close to the wall. I don't want to be close to the wall. I push him away here. The first move doesn't connect. I wasn't expecting him to immediately retaliate with a down forward too. And in my head, I'm like, okay, obviously the range is pretty far off, so he's not gonna retaliate. But he actually lets it rip. So I'm like, all right, cool. You know, don't let that get to you. Does his heat engager. Now, the move, since I'm not oriented with the wall, the move whiffs. And at this point, I'm expecting something devastating here, because I'm -14. I'm expecting this, just to show you guys what I'm expecting. Hold on, let me retry that. I'm expecting something like that. Or something like this. Like that stuff is possible. Let me see. Anyways, you guys get the point. But in this case, what happens instead is he goes for this instead, which I don't know, maybe he's trying to like make up the damage that he lost there, but in this case, we're not gonna allow him to charge up that move. That's not what we're gonna allow him to do. Now he's enforcing his other mix-ups here, right? I have armor, you can't retaliate. What are you going to do, Hayachi, right? So at this point, I play it defensively again. I don't feel like taking, you know, a mix-up. I don't really feel like playing risky. So I'm just gonna block, and in this case, the block is successful, right? I am +4. I'm +4 here, and we use the same, we kind of use the same application that we used before where I'm +4 and I initiate a mix-up. And in this case, I do the same thing. And that confirms that this King player doesn't have a good grasp of frame knowledge, especially when he has his moves blocked. And now I get my reward. I'm gonna go in for the big combo. I'm gonna get my Hell Sweep combo. I'm gonna get into the wall as much as possible here. And then now, we're at the wall, and now we're gonna go ahead for a mix here. Now, at that point, I'm expecting a -12 punish. Again, what I'm expecting here is something like this, into a horrible throw mix-up, into a nightmare where I'm probably going to shut off my PC. But now, in this case, what happens here instead is it retaliates with a down forward 1. So that just confirms what we just talked about. And another thing too, King players, is don't telegraph your grabs out of a jab. Because now, because of the fact that this locks me down here, that jab locks me down, I'm immediately on the defensive, and I'm ready for something like that, right? I'm not gonna duck. Ducking is ill-advised against King. So, but I'm confident in my throw breaks, and it works out here. Now, if I'm the King player again, instead of me going for a jab after the down forward 1, what I will do instead is do a giant swing, and that would have counter hit, and then I probably would have been throwing my stick across the room. But in this case, that doesn't happen here, and he just retaliates with a down forward 1, and he just gives up the momentum there. He just gives up the momentum. Now we're playing safe. He's going a little bit crazy. I don't want to get caught in anything insane, so I'm just gonna play defensive again. Now I see the capital punishment come out. I'm gonna react and just block, but I'm only -2. So again, now that we've pretty much confirmed that this King player doesn't have a good grasp on frames, I'm gonna sidestep to his weak side, which is his left side, right? So that's his left side right here. And if you're ever confused as to what side you need to be stepping in the heat of the moment, right? What you want to do is just go ahead and remember, sidestep to the direction of this leg right here. That's his weak side. And now you may be wondering, like, why am I going to be stepping towards the direction of where that move tracks? It's because, again, that's his weak side. And good King players are going to utilize that move to make sure that you don't step. But in this case, we haven't seen that from this King player. So, sidestepping to his weak side, I'm going to get my reward. And this is going to be pretty much round at this point. Yeah. Ridiculous. So now that we pretty much established a good flow with round 1 and round 2, we're gonna be careful now and see how does this King player react. How is he gonna react now? Is he gonna change it up? Am I gonna be able to establish more momentum? Am I gonna be able to establish more bigger moves? Because now I pretty much set in the ground like, no, you can't disrespect me, and I respect you way too much to the point where it doesn't work out in your favor, right? So now we're doing electric mix-ups. 4-2-1, 2 seconds into the match, and because I can react to that, we're gonna get our launch. Mess up the combo. Activate my heat. Get for the big damage there. What's the mix? Put you back in the blender, and we're gonna do the same thing again. What's the mix? Yup. Didn't wall splat. We caught it. This is what we established already. We established that this King player doesn't want to really take his defensive opportunities that, not seriously, but like it's just using the wrong choices there. You know, if he probably would have used this in different scenarios, that probably would have gotten him the momentum. But in this case, that doesn't work out, and now we grab him again, and we're at practically pixel health now, and that's all it took. Yeah. So I hope this gives you guys some insight as to how to deal with King's key moves there, especially to a lot of times, like I said before in the I don't know if I said this before in the beginning of the video, but Bushin and around that level, Bushin is pretty much the same pools as God of Destructions and Tekken God Supremes right now, or within that realm, Tekken Gods and Tekken Emperors. So a lot of these matches can be tough for for a lot of players. So, but I again, I do hope I was able to provide some insight with King, and if you guys want, again, I was able to really establish that momentum for sure with the other 2 matches now, and if you guys want to see that, I'll be more than happy to provide those videos. But other than that, again, I hope you guys found this helpful. Y'all take care, and y'all be safe out there. Peace.